Okay, let's dive into this. In life, we spend a massive amount of time and energy focusing on our actions, right? We're constantly worrying about what we're doing, where we're going, the physical steps we're taking. But the source material for today's explainer completely flips that narrative on its head. It brings up this really profound observation. A lot of the biggest problems we face, they don't actually begin with our actions at all. They begin with our words.
Picture this for a second. You've got a school of fish swimming freely and peacefully deep underwater. Everything is super calm. But just above them, dangling right down into their environment, are these sharp fishing hooks. Now, have you ever noticed which fish actually gets caught? It's definitely not the one that stays silent. The fish that just kind of mind their own business and keep their mouths shut, they do perfectly fine. But the very moment one fish decides to open its mouth and take a bite, snap, it's caught. It's yanked right out of its peaceful little world.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how perfectly this underwater dynamic maps to our own behavior. The silent fish avoids the hook entirely, while the open-mouthed one gets instantly caught. And honestly, as humans, we swim through our own daily waters filled with these metaphorical hooks, right? I'm talking about everyday provocations, workplace gossip, family drama, stressful situations, and just like that fish, opening our mouths unnecessarily, speaking before we've actually thought it through is exactly what traps us. We literally take the bait.
Part 1. Words that create conflict and how our speech leads to trouble.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because it really turns into this dangerous chain reaction. Step 1 usually starts with just a careless comment, like impulsively hitting reply all with a snarky remark to a frustrating email or snapping at a coworker over some tiny mistake. And bam, suddenly a perfectly good relationship is damaged. Then we escalate to step 2, an emotional reaction. They get defensive, you lash out again, and we've instantly created conflict out of thin air. Finally, we hit step 3, an unnecessary argument that completely steals your peace for the rest of the day. By just opening our mouths at the wrong time, we've totally swallowed the hook.
That loss of personal peace is just such a heavy price to pay for simply needing to have the last word. Which brings us to part 2, redefining silence and weakness. Wisdom is knowing when not to speak.
Society kind of tricks us into believing that silence equals weakness, doesn't it? We're taught that if you don't speak up, if you don't fire back instantly with some sharp, clever retort, you're somehow losing the game. But our source material absolutely dismantles that whole misconception. Silence is not weakness. It is self-control. It's a massive sign of maturity. So the crucial point is, it's the active, intentional ability to think before reacting. We always assume wisdom is about having the perfect thing to say, but honestly, sometimes the most profound wisdom is simply knowing when to stay completely quiet.
So how do we purposefully swim past those hooks dangling in front of us every single day? Let's look at part 3, choosing your battles and what we should ignore.
It basically comes down to intentionally filtering our reactions through 3 golden rules of restraint. First up, not every opinion needs to be shared. Just because a thought or judgment pops into our head doesn't mean it needs to immediately fly out of our mouth. Second, not every criticism deserves a response. When someone throws unhelpful negativity your way, you absolutely don't have to engage with it. You can literally just let it float right by. And third, not every battle is worth fighting. By internalizing these 3 rules, we're making the conscious choice to be that smart fish that keeps its mouth closed, dodging all that unnecessary trouble entirely.
This leads us directly to the ultimate value of this whole practice. Part 4, protect instead of destroy, or the value of a closed mouth.
And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate power of restraint. Just feel the weight of the statement for a second. Silence can protect what words may destroy. Think back to those damaged relationships and the stolen peace we were just talking about. Words are incredibly powerful tools for sure, but once they're spoken, you can't take them back. They have the power to just utterly destroy things in mere seconds. But silence? Silence acts like this invisible protective shield. By choosing a closed mouth, we protect our relationships, our environment, and honestly, most importantly, we protect our own internal peace.
Which leaves us with this final amazing golden rule to take away from today's explainer. Speak when your words are better than silence. I really want you to let that sink in. Tomorrow, before you react to that annoying email, or before you type out some heated comment online, or before you jump headfirst into a pointless argument, just ask yourself this. Will my words actually improve upon the silence, or am I just biting another hook? It's a real game changer. Think about that before you engage in your very next conversation. Thanks for joining us, keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.